Hello, my name is Steven Simmons, and I'm going to be doing a presentation on the Second Great Awakening. The Second Great Awakening started in the early 19th century, and it went throughout the Civil War period. It followed the First Great Awakening, which was led by Jonathan Edwards, George Whitefield, and John Wesley. The First Great Awakening wasn't back to back to each other, but there were some years separating. But the goal of the Second Great Awakening was just to transform the moral habits of the nation. Things like slavery, women's rights, education, just things that were morally wrong in the nation that they wanted to change. And during that, they also wanted to convert people to Christianity. So in 1818, Connecticut actually made a law that they would no longer fund the churches in the state. And I really think that this is what led to the movement of the Second Great Awakening. There were two main people in the Second Great Awakening that were really the biggest activists of this movement. And one of them was Lyman Beecher, who was a preacher of a small church in Connecticut. His main thing that he focused on was temperance, which is the abstinence of drinking alcohol. And actually, this was very successful because it led to the American Temperance Society and led to many other movements of like women's rights, abolition of slavery, which the abolition of slavery was a movement that actually led to the starting of the Civil War, which ended actually in the end of slavery. There was a saying in the journal that I am using for this presentation that the Second Great Awakening was the single most important element in the gradual change of Northerners' attitude towards slavery. So this Second Great Awakening isn't just a movement of Christianity, a movement of millions of people following God, which that actually also happened, but it is also the end of slavery and what really changed the impact of the world now today. How different the world is today with people of all colors, of all races coming together. And the Second Great Awakening just started that and catapulted it into what it is now today, which was ending that segregation and the division between us. Another person that was a key influencer in the Second Great Awakening was Charles Finney, and he's known as the greatest 19th century evangelist. He started off as a lawyer, and they say that he had one of those Paul, like on the Damascus Road moments where he was just like, man, this isn't what God wants for me. And he was born again. He became a theologian. He was self-taught, kind of like Abraham Lincoln, and just he went out and his goal was to change the world and change their beliefs that they had and just convert people to Christianity because of that big change that God did to his life. He wanted everybody else to see what he now saw. Another big influence in the Second Great Awakening were the Methodist circuit riders. They would just ride out to the people. They would go to the people. Instead of the people coming to the church, they went out and they were just evangelists teaching the gospel to all people. They would go to their houses and do it to them, which made a great impact in the Second Great Awakening. But the main goal of the Second Great Awakening was just to transform the moral habits of the nation. And in doing that, they started new rights for women. They ended slavery. They lowered the drinking of alcohol in the population. And above all, they converted many lives to Christ during this movement. So the Second Great Awakening was an amazing movement that really changed the world and the path that we live on now. Thank you.